Okie dokie. All right, y'all. The final meetup here, the Hohner PentaHarp meetup, which has been happening every single month for an entire year. That's right. So today I'm going to just do something hopefully a little bit different than what I've done each and every time, which is maybe talk about some of the discoveries of the strength of this harmonica. And what am I talking about? Talking about the Hohner PentaHarp. For those that don't know it, maybe you're stopping by and you're like, what is he even talking about? For some of you, you've seen me talk about this several times, but this will be the final time. Hohner came out with this harmonica, well, at least a little over a year ago now, and then I'm trying to think of the exact date, but I can't recall it at the moment. And the entire design of this harmonica is kind of built off of like a Special 20. You can see that there are no side vents anywhere. And it looks like a Special 20, other than the blue ABS plastic, which obviously that would be black on a Special 20. But the construction really is built off of that Special 20 kind of modeling in mind, using the same components. The big difference, which you can hear in the tuning, let me move to an A pentatonic. This is the A minor pentatonic scale that you'll get out of this. Now this scale is really a blues scale, but you can remove the 2-draw and easily just play the pentatonic. Giving you the same kind of position scale you get out of third position blues scale when you're playing on a standard Richter tuned harmonica. Got a very upset barking dog somewhere. It sounds like he's coming out of my desk. It sounds like it's reverberating into my entire skull right now. So this little harmonica is pretty powerful because that scale is built in there and you don't have to do anything special. The power of it lies in this ability to stop focusing on trying to bend the note to the exact note choice and worrying about technique, and more so just about playing. And you can focus on more of your rhythm and phrasing, which I really like about this harmonica. In fact, what I demonstrated at the beginning of this clip was really 10th position, so that's a different scale, which I can share in a minute. None of this is really too tough on the harmonica if you're bending at all, especially for that 10th position, or relative minor stuff doesn't require, or relative major, I should say, any bending at all. And the entire idea behind this is first position, blow draw. So let's just hear these notes. And it keeps going. You get 3 octaves of the exact same octave moving up, exact same note layout. Not like a diatonic Richter-tuned harmonica where that all flips after hole 6. You don't need to bend anything to get these cool notes like 2 draw. That would be like a 4 bend if you were playing cross harp in the blues scale, just to give you an idea. Where did that D harp? A really tough note to wrangle in. Well, you don't need to do that. You can just play 5 draw, 2 draw. You get these nice notes that are equivalent to the bends. Another really cool thing I'm digging about the PentaHarp is the use of octaves. I just want to point these out before I forget. Is that if you can place your tongue over, the tip of the tongue over 2 holes and get that 2-hole cover octave, you're in good shape. You can... Same with the draw. And you can't do that on a Richter tuned. Most of you have discovered you can blow. But once you start drawing, after 1-4 draw, you get splits. There are no longer any octaves with 2-hole cover. These are not octaves. They're just splits. But you don't need to do that with this. You can get that octave moving all the way up. So let me share with you something on the screen here for a minute. Maybe I can do that. Maybe you guys can see this. Can you see it? Hopefully you can see this screen right here. Maybe I should check. Make sure. Give me a minute. I guess I can get back to all this. Yeah, so there I am. Okay, cool. You can see it. The website, pentaharp.com, is really nice because it's got everything you need. So if you're new to the PentaHarp or want to learn more, you just go here and you can check out the videos. If you're a guitar player, you can check out creating tablature right here. And this is important. You'd want to go here and kind of scope this out because it's showing you that it's designed really for first position. If the song is in C minor, just grab the C PentaHarp and just blow draw a pattern and you're good to go. But the relative major, this is your relative major that it's showing on the other side. What's cool about this, and I will try to go back and demo a little just that relative major playing, is that you also can play the minor. So if this is E flat major or minor, there are ways to use the C harmonica, for example, an E flat major or minor, to get scales that'll work. And not to get above everybody who's just getting into it, but I just want to mention that I started by doing exactly that, showing you the minor. So I was playing, what was I in? I was in the G and B flat probably, I believe, on a G harmonica and B flat. So you come down here. I was playing the minor, though, by using a blues scale that I found in 10th position. And I can share a little of that with you as well. But you could just start with the baby steps of understanding blow draw and getting yourself moving around and just focus on the timing and the phrasing. Then what I would do is examine what's available on the chart here. If you just take a look, you'll see that it's showing you that every hole except for 2, 5, and 8 draw has the equivalent of that full step bend. You can move down a full step. That's huge. So let's just hear that on an A. Draw, half step, full step, and then on the 3, and on the 4. The 4 gets challenging. Anything above 4 and up, depending on the key, of course, it can get really challenging, like these higher keys. But they become more challenging to separate the half steps, especially by the time you get up here on the high end of the harmonica. But it can be done. And then what I would do is come here and check out these 10 songs to get you started, because it gives you a PDF of just really simple. You click it, you get your, I'm not a fan, I've said this before, I'm not a fan of the arrow system, y'all. But you can convert it any way you want. This is 3 draw, 4 draw, 6 blow. So it's pretty sweet. You can go along and it helps you teach. This is all first position based. So playing the PentaHarp in the key that it's tuned in. All right, let's just stop that for a minute. So that's the website, pentaharp.com. Go there and check it out. It's your best resource. If you want to buy a PentaHarp, you could go to, you could just type into Google Cellist Lesson Squad. I have a little page with this website called Lesson Squad, and they allow me to bring in products and highlight and get a little affiliate link towards products. So there's like literally a couple bucks that comes back or something on a purchase. It's not a big deal to me. If you want it, if you're going to get one and you're okay with shopping through like Guitar Center or Sweetwater, or is it? It's not Sweetwater. It might be Sweetwater actually. Yeah, Guitar Center and Sweetwater, I want to say. But it'll give you options, and that's where you can buy. You can buy this anywhere, really. You can go to music stores and find this thing available anywhere. All right, let's get to some of this other stuff I have queued up here. My buddy Nick's going to join in a couple of minutes here and share some of his insights and play a little bit for y'all. Let's do this. Let's check out some of those scales I was talking about. So this scale right here is the relative major, and let me make this a little easier to read for you. So if you have a C PentaHarp, how easy is that? The relative major, you'd be in C major on an A PentaHarp, or you could be an E flat major on a C PentaHarp. And these relative majors are really fun. So let me see how I can do this. Yeah, there's distinct advantages to the comment that came in about the Richter. And I mean, there's a distinct advantage. You've got chords, more usable rhythmic chords going on a standard Richter tuned. But it's another tool in your belt to consider. The PentaHarp gives you a totally different expression and tone. And the fact that the notes lay out in a different space, the phrasing changes. So that's powerful. Until you have really played long enough, I don't know that you can, it's hard to fully grasp why you'd want to do it. It's another tool. That's why. You have to experiment with it. You'll hear what Nick is doing with it, and you'll understand after you hear Nick. But then there's this way to play the blues scale. So I believe I had this wrong on one of the webinars. It was a half step, or at least one or two, maybe all of them, who knows. It's been adjusted, so it sounds like this. Back to the C PentaHarp, just to show you. That's not a C, is it? That's a G. I was going to say, that's way too low. Here's a C. And that's pretty sweet, because you can move around and play what you're familiar with, maybe, if you've been playing third position. So let me see if I can find this. Back to my I had a playlist here. Yeah, I want to say it was with the B flat playlist. Yeah, these are all in B flat. Like this is a let's hear what it is. Yeah, if you grab a B flat and just think of this scale right here up top. So the track is B flat, and I'm just sitting here and playing on. No, the track. I'm playing the first position, but if I had a G harp, what I could show you is this. Let's see, here it is. Now we're using this. By the way, why did it work? Let's point out why it worked on the B flat. Because I was playing in first position and all those notes are going to work. Everything's already tuned to the minor, blues scale, and pentatonic. So here's relative major. Again, to be really clear, it's B flat and I'm on a G harp. G PentaHarp. No bending needed, really. Really sweet. Now, maybe a lot of you are playing blues and you're like, I don't want to play this kind of stuff. The point is versatile. You can bring it into this mix of pop music, and that's kind of why I wanted to share that. If you want some of this, you can email me at info@harmonica123.com, and I'd be happy to send it your way. I think the key is to just get the thing in your mouth and sit around and play that first position stuff first. Learn a melody or two. The other one that I worked out in a past webinar was the work song. And the work song is really cool because in first position, it's in key of F minor. If you have a low F PentaHarp, they only make it in a low F. It's not tuned to another, it's not a high F is what I'm saying. Then what you can do is work it out. Again, I've got some tablature I'd be happy to send. It's just fascinating to me. I do need an overblow to get the exact melody. So let's talk about that quickly. Overblows are available across the entire range of the harmonica, unlike a Richter tune where they're located towards the bottom half of the harmonica and overdraws up top. You still want to set the harp up, to really coax them out nicely. The friendliest one is going to be just like a Richter tune, that 6 overblow. There it is. So you got these phrases like something like that. Oops, now I'm gone. This has happened before. I don't know why it happens, but it has happened. It just decides to shut off on me. It's had enough of me. So yeah, that's the deal with the PentaHarp. I think you really need to get one in your hands and play it to really appreciate it. Now let's just talk about insights I've gained over the years, or over this last year, I should say, from playing it, is that the bends that are available that I pointed out on holes, especially 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10, these areas where you can go down a full step range, even in first position, you want to begin bringing these into your playing and consider using them just to bring in more expression, you know? I'm just blowing and drawing, but as I go into the draw notes, I'll start with a bend, lift it to a draw, and I'll play the blow note above. You can go into the bends as well. So you're not dwelling on these bends as much, although you can use them, again, in first position, just talking about playing it blow draw pattern stuff. You absolutely can bring the bends in, and it changes the sound completely, in my opinion, when it comes to the ability to bring a little more expression, because that's what I crave and love about a standard diatonic harmonica is the bending. That's what makes it so sweet. So let me see if I have anything I can show you that on. What is this? This is an epic guitar jam. So you've got it like a G. See how I'm bringing that little? Let me boost the volume a little. So if I didn't use any bending, still works fine. But once you bring in a little bit of a lift, start to get a little better expression, in my opinion, out of this harmonica. I think the majority of people that end up sticking with the PentaHarp, they're not using it in the way that I sort of lean towards, which is this 10th position and bending anywhere where I can get the bluesiest sound out of it. I think that most people, what they're going to do is pick it up, like Nick's doing, and bring it into their playing. Just to bring it into their playing. Oh, hang tight, y'all. Let me send something to Mr. Nick. He's having problems getting in. Wondering where he was. Oh, let's see here. This won't take too long. I know where I'm going and what I need to get. Now, if I have any questions... Oh, this is Nick. Nick is here. He just needs to be elevated. What's the word? Not elevated. Promoted. Here he comes. Hey, Nick.
Yo.
I didn't know you were in that way.
That's the link you sent on
The
accident.
system should have kicked you your panelist link, but I might have missed it. It's very possible.
How's that sound?
You there, bud?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Where you at?
Can you hear me?
Hey, man.
Hey, buddy.
I hear you now. I just turned on my speakers.
Nice.
Okay.
How's this sound?
It sounds good. Where's your face, dude?
Hold on. How's this sound?
I can hear you.
All right. Ready?
I'm
I'm gonna start with the song.
as
I'm gonna start with the song. I'm gonna start with the song. All right?
We don't get to see you. I get it.
No, I'm gonna turn it on right now. Ready?
Oh, no. Let's wait another minute.
You ready?
No. Yes.
All right. Here we go. Ready?
I don't think I could be much more ready, but ooh. All right, I'll let you take it away, dude. Hey, man. Good to see you.
Howdy.
How are you?
I am great.
I sent you probably the direct like attendee link or something that I might have done, but the system should have also sent you your panelist link, but it's probably hiding in spam compared to the email that popped up, which
Oh,
is the direct.
probably. I didn't check my spam. Oh, that
Yeah.
was it.
No, it's cool, man. It's all good. We're here, and I got started a few minutes later than planned, so actually you're right on time.
Nice. Awesome.
So, you heard me trying to talk about my approach to sort of like building more expression out of, especially the relative major and like first position stuff.
Yeah.
Anything you'd add to that? I feel like it doesn't really need, like I started to say at the end, it doesn't need. Let me mute you so I don't get the feedback real quick. I'll unmute you. I'll do it all for you. Oh, you got it. I don't think it needs it. The way that you use it lends itself to sort of this perfect placement of texture and in the context of singer-songwriter stuff and maybe even some straight ahead blues, it's best served to sort of focus on just the first position. But there is a little bit of room. I exaggerated it, and so maybe you could talk about other ways that you work on expression with technique.
Yeah. This is actually really cool. I sat in with the Delta Sonics, which is a local band in Colorado that Ronnie and I know. We're buddies with everybody in that band. And I sat in on a Richter tuned harp. But this technique, uh, I was reminded of when I first picked up a PentaHarp. And recently, player wise, I've been reminded of by listening to a lot of Charlie Musselwhite last couple of weeks. Um, and that is just like dynamics with your breathing and how you can like um, play rhythmically with your vibrato and just that kind of layering atmospheric sound can go a long way. Um, it's not the same as like Junior Wells, right? Because he's like using like tongue articulation to get a rhythmic pattern. You're just using your breath, and uh, Watermelon Slim does it well too, where you're just kind of like, oh, I have to do a single net.
But I get what you're saying. I
Yeah,
totally get that idea of like the breath being the predominant sort of force that's being creatively used in the phrasing, which most people, just from a dynamic range standpoint, they forget about all this stuff that like you're good at coming in nice and easy on a lot of these notes, and that alone, just the swell of a note And then this idea of using the breath is really cool for getting a little more syncopated or playing around with these notes. I feel like I got a lot of room to explore in that area. I was playing this kind of riff earlier, like, let's see, something where it was like triplets that came off of, I can't remember how I did it. Oh, I have the harp upside down. That would help. Something that again is the main controlling point. The force of it is the breath that's playing around with the timing and the phrasing versus me trying to use the tongue like you're saying. I think the tongue gets a lot of people in trouble because they're going like they're accidentally inflecting these notes when they don't want to, like, and look what happens on like the two where there's no where to go except for a microtonal movement. You're bound to make it quack like a duck. It's just gonna, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, totally. And then listening to Muscle that album Continental Drifter, he's playing in some pretty weird keys, not just third. He's like doing some fourth and some fifth, and he'll tongue block it, so it's like kind of chromatic sounding. And some of those, like when he's using a D harp in a weird position, to get some of those bends, um, down right. It's kind of intense, and I feel like this harp, if he had this harp during that session when he's like playing that Cuban music, he might have used it more, because Musclelight's cool with uh, different tuning harps.
He was talking at the summit about a circular tuning. There was a harmonica he asked for that is circular tuning, which I know nothing about, but he's not opposed to. He doesn't own many of those alternate things, but you're right. He's more of like an open-minded guy. The same reason why he plays these alternate positions. Yeah, if you don't have Continental Drifter, yeah, you guys haven't heard it. Go listen to it. It's awesome. Everything on it, just the varied positions, the chromatic, and the straight ahead stuff. I love the way he takes the really traditional Latin music and will just play like cross harp over it. You're like, shit, that sounds pretty good. You're
No,
like,
totally. He just plays blues.
he's just
On
playing blues.
Yeah,
But the music's like totally something you would never hear like cross harp in ever. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty wild. That album's cool.
What else? What
They're
else you got? If you want to play, don't let me keep
yeah,
you from playing.
yeah. So I'll just do, man. Another guy I've been listening to lately, for vibe wise, is Tony Joe White. Now he's a rag player, right? Um, he did Poke Salad Annie and a few other
Mm-hmm.
tunes. Um, and he wasn't that accomplished on the harp. You could tell that he really loved Slim Harpo. You could tell that he liked Jimmy Reed, and he learned how to bend to draw and some of the third hole in cross, but then he kind of stopped. So he just does these weird rhythmic little one note bend patterns. Uh, and for like Americana music,
What
if
happened to the brown hat, by the way?
this one feels better. I put it on and I was like, this is the one.
It felt right, yeah.
Yeah, this one felt right. Anyway,
Nick sent me pictures yesterday when he was hat shopping, so that's great.
but I do want to get like a felt hat. Anyways, Tony Joe White, um, a little dab will do you, and he's the king of that, in my opinion. I listen to his harp playing, even though he's not a harp player, really. And so I'll do like a major thing, and I'll do like even less than I normally do on the PentaHarp, and I'll pet, Tony Joe White, a harmonica solo. In the key of C, so I'm doing the relative, all right?
Right on, dude. Sounds great. Sounds really good.
Yes, and normally I'm like trying to show like look what it can do, but like really what it can do is take a little bit and stretch it.
Well, one thing that you did strategy wise that I've heard you do this before, I like it a lot, is you play. So on this scale, we looked at it earlier on paper, and what I like is that you'll take each note for like 3 beats. You'll just sustain a note, right in order of the scale notes, no bending, just draw one, two blow, three draw, just sustain, then go to the next note, sustain. And that sounds better separating these notes than trying to play a riff over the progression. The chords are taking care of the movement, and the note just needs to float. It's like it sounds really good, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and just and I don't have to, because I am like stuff, right? Oh,
Yeah.
I think I froze for a
No,
second.
it's all right. I can still hear you.
Hold on.
It looks good. You froze at a perfect action shot there. That
Nice,
was
nice. All
good.
right, I'm back. All right, um, so I'm like playing the guitar, when I'm focusing on that, and I have to like, play like a low F or a high F. Ugh, a high F, trying
Right.
to get all those bends.
Right.
It's intense, and I'll do it, because sometimes the song needs a high F, right? But other times when I'm just trying to like I'm trying to accompany myself on the harmonica. The PentaHarp has been super cool. I've been listening to a lot of movie soundtracks with harp, a lot of old westerns where they're just using like a bass harp, And there's no bending on a bass harp. You're just kind of playing these things, these bass movements, not necessarily a bass line, but just like these. Sometimes it's just like these atmospheric, notes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
PentaHarp. I put the PentaHarp in that category. You know,
Yeah.
people like I've seen comments on like other YouTube videos where they're like, they do the thing that harmonica players love to do. You know, it's whether it's like no overblows or like it should only be overblows, or it's like it should be, you know, Richter only. Only, they tend to be.
Well, yeah. I just gave a little bit of grief to somebody that wrote Pentaharp so meh, and I was like, didn't your mama teach you anything? As if to say we don't have to. Like, I get it, folks. I'm not upset by the way necessarily at the communicating the comment that you don't like it,
Yeah, yeah,
because not everyone's gonna like love a pentaharp. I get that,
yeah,
but that doesn't mean you have to leave the comment for all of us to read.
yeah. And it's also like it's designed for people to. It's an introduction for harmonica for other musicians.
Well,
But
I
the
also
goal.
think you could rip this thing like like shred on this thing in the right hands, not in my hands necessarily, but like
No, I think some of the stuff I've heard you do, some of the stuff Jason does, is super cool. What's that guy, Constantine Reinfeldt? And he's like a Howard Levy kind of guy, and he'll pick this up. And he used it recently for like padding. That's
right.
what this harmonica is for harmonica players. It's a atmospheric thing for a country song. It's a synthesizer keyboard line for a
Yeah,
pop
yeah.
song. This is like a tool.
Let
I
me let me
I don't
explain
get. I'm
explain
sorry.
that. Most folks don't understand the word padding, so let them understand what that means, or I'll explain it either way. But it's support, y'all. It's what an organ is often doing. It can be sustained, it can be rhythmic, but it's the support role where. How do you see it? I mean, that's the way I understand it. When you're padding, your role reverses. You're thinking of all the different ways you can support the music, not necessarily the soloist either, vocalist. So harp players forget to think about this stuff, Nick. We don't. I think most players are stuck in the vein of like, what can I contribute in the way of a riff, a fill, or a solo, and they're just not doing the other side.
I mean, uh, we'll talk Richter tuning experience for a second. Mickey Raphael is like one of the greatest padding players ever, right? And he could get away with just two draw in the right um, moment, right? If you pick your moment, one note can like level an audience. And I've been in that situation where I just waited playing with like a songwriter, and I just two drawed and I went from cupping to non-cup and I timed it out right. And the entire audience, because of the lyrics and the guitar part and the moment that it comes in, just was like, whoa, and I felt it. It was a communal like, whoa, that was perfect, right? And that's not like, you know, which I love. I just taught my class
Maybe
that.
maybe this should be the first harp that people pick up for that reason, just so they can learn
Yeah,
more
like
about how to accompany.
it's like playing an acoustic guitar before you play an electric, you know? It's like it's about the foundation first, you know? It's like how can you immediately, start to make proper music, you know? Um
Is that a gecko?
this
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, it's a gecko.
A gecko.
The
That's
cool
it.
thing is like this.
Woo! Yeah.
So anyways, like I think actual harp players, who like consider themselves intermediate or advanced should get one just because, you know, Tom Ball, who I've been listening to a lot lately, I watched his interview and he says, bring every harp you own to a recording session. If you're going to be a session worker, bring every harp you own. Bring the chromatic, bring the 16 hole, bring every different key, bring every different octave, bring the bass harp, the chord harp, bring it all, because you don't know what's going to fit. There's a tone to each harp, right? You could play the same scale on a Richter tuning harp, but they feel different. They sound different. When you tongue block this, it's in between a chromatic and a diatonic as far as the way it sounds to me.
Yeah,
You know,
dude, I totally agree with that. I was playing around with these like these little this
that might,
slow.
and you couldn't do that exact sound on any other tuned harp than that
No,
one, right?
no,
And
that's why I like it. Yeah.
maybe you're gonna go into like a session where there's like a ton of weights kind of guy, and that is what you need to do.
Now, I could play devil's advocate and say have a focus, stick with your Richter tune and all that. I think the point of these meetups, just for everyone, I know we go off about like here's like a great way to use it, which is important to communicate, but at the same time, like y'all don't have to. I'm not trying to convince anybody to switch to play PentaHarp. I just want to be really clear about this. The intention is to give you some insight as to what the instrument's about, how you might go about starting on it, which is, in my opinion, best served with the first position, the way it was designed with the blues scale built in, of course, the minor pentatonics there too. These scales are some of the most useful scales you ever come across, and I think it's important for some people, probably more than we realize, to hear the damn notes unbent. Like when you're playing third position, you start on the bottom, you have three bends you need to contend with. Two full step, three step and a half, and three full. Now, you would have to do some of that on the blues scale on a pentatonic, but if you just play first position, you're hearing these notes like four bend and cross harp on two draw, like I talked about earlier. You need to sometimes just hear what that damn note sounds like on a harmonica without the interference of the of trying to bend. Because let's face it, bending is the hardest thing to do on a harmonica. I'm always working on bending. I bet you are too. Bending is something that you can always fine tune, and maybe that's enough for somebody just to know that they can hear and then pick up the appropriate harp and try the same thing. If I did that on a G, by the way, you'd pick up your C harp, I guess. And all of a sudden, you have a better feel for that four bend because you took a minute to hear what the hell that sounded like on the two draw or the five draw, etc. Do you want to play a song, dude? You should be playing a
Yeah,
song.
totally. I don't like that C major stuff because, like I said, that Tony Joe White thing. I like just. All right, I'll play some. Right?
Bravo, dude. It's great.
Ah,
Yeah, man, it sounds great. It really does. I think that's so important to hear for folks to hear what it sounds like when you're playing it in this context because like to bring it back full circle to the original like intention of let me mute you. To bring it back to the original intention when it was designed, it was had guitar players in mind who are extremely familiar with this scale, the pentatonic scale, and it was designed to just be played from this draw blow pattern that most people do anyway when they pick up second and they're trying to play blues in the second position. They're not playing that typically. They're going. So if you're going to start like that, stick to first position for a minute, y'all, on a Richter, or grab yourself the PentaHarp. And I love it, man. It's funny because I don't know. I've only brought it into like one song that I do with this particular group. You know that. I think you've heard me do that a little bit on that song with the Dig 3. And it's a really cool kind of disco flavored, funky kind of song. But I'm playing the 10th position stuff, which is not hard to do if you can bend it all. And again, people always say, well, why? Why don't you just stick to playing your Richter tune? The reason is because it sounds different. It's fun to play something that the phrasing and tone feels and sounds different to me. And again, if I was to encourage you, somebody asked this earlier, go get an A PentaHarp if you're going to get one. If they don't have an A, go for maybe the C. Think about the key you'll be playing it in, though, because if you really have a key in mind, you'll want to figure out if it's a B flat song, maybe I should go with a B flat PentaHarp to start to get that down. But the A will serve you really well. I would say that's the number one key people are picking up. Would you agree? I think so. Oh, you're muted. I've muted
no,
you.
I that's the one I have. Just because A minor and then the songwriter stuff at C major is perfect.
Now, I have a request. I would love to hear you play. You don't have to do much of it if you don't want, but like, I love your context of like a slow blues in the key of A. So he'd be everybody in first position, just playing the A PentaHarp in the key of A, shuffle kind of, or slow blues even. You did a slow blues last time, it sounded killer.
All right, ready?
Cool, Nick. So I guess it's important also to point out something we haven't mentioned, which is for a lot of folks that are just not don't realize it. Maybe just no one said this to you, so you don't know it. But it's important to experiment with these minor scales over major. You're think about all these. The best example I can think of is like classic rock is all major typically, and all the solos are on this minor pentatonic scale. You should be experimenting. There's no reason not to. The same reason you'd take third position and play that minor blues scale over a major tune, just to see what that sounded like from a perspective of the sound of the scale and the phrasing that it lends itself to.
Yeah, and also like I'm trying not to be afraid of the two draw. When I first got the
Right.
the PentaHarp, I was like, ooh, you know. But now I'm trying to just incorporate that sound more, and then it kind of informs my guitar playing, where I'm kind of going from that Robert Johnson stuff that leans undecidedly major or minor, but then the
Yeah.
second part, kind of holding this out, which
Yeah.
has this like kind of dissonance to it.
I love that.
That playing the pentaharp and using those what some might at first feel as uncomfortable notes has helped my informed not help but informed my
Well,
guitar playing.
and both same thing with relative. So if you're playing relative major and first position, you would be switching. You'd be switching the key of the pentaharp to get to one like a relative major scale. But what I found was that when I thought I was in, I can't remember if I thought I was in first or I thought I was playing the relative major, but I thought I was doing it, and I was like, no, you're playing with the same key harp or something. But it all worked and mixed because those notes are just blow and draw notes. And I found that this is what it was. I was trying to play a relative major, and I was hitting it like first and hitting a bunch of notes that aren't in the scale, but they were working. And I was like, in a weird way, in a passing kind of way, like you hit a note and move on. But just like a Richter tune harp, y'all got to figure out the biggest thing that I ever did that helped me was ignore the advice from people that said you can't do this and you can't do that. You need to figure out for yourself what sounds good. Like every single note on the harmonica, I would say, in every scale works. It's a matter of how the context of how you place it. Again, yes, a three draw sounds sour in third position to sustain it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about using the note in a different kind of way, passing. Now you don't hear it sounding bad. It becomes this cool passing thing. And all these other notes in cross that I would just two blow or half step bend. You guys got to figure out the emotional relationship you have with each note in each position or scale so that it doesn't feel scary to land on it and you have options to go to other notes. Pentaharp, doesn't matter what we're talking about, right? And that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean the Tom Ball thing has really uh, stuck in my mind. I saw that interview a few weeks ago. It's an older one. Just the idea of like bring every harp. Every harp has something different. Um, this might work for an underneath thing, underneath the vocals or some kind of quality that, you know, it's the same thing with like minor tuned harps. Sometimes that Tim Gonzalez minor tune marine band is what you need, it's what you need for the song. Sometimes a bass harp, sometimes a pentaharp. Um, everything as harmonica players, we should be open minded to the tools that we have available to us.
Yeah, we got to start thinking more like musicians and less like harmonica players.
Less than spa attendees. I
Hey,
love spa,
yeah, and
but like,
I'm including myself too. I'm not just saying that to attack anybody. I'm saying we all need to be thinking more like, what is our role musically versus what do I do as a harp player?
mm-hmm.
Because I'm proud to be a harmonica player, and I love I don't have any shame in that of not playing guitar or singing much these days. Even though I can play a little bit of guitar and I can sing a little bit, but the
Yeah.
point is that those are things that I did to round out becoming more of a musician. I pushed to try to do some of those things, but on the instrument itself is what I'm talking about. Taking these instruments and saying, well, how can it, like we keep saying, how can it lend itself to being the most musical way to approach the song that I'm interacting with or the song that
Yeah,
I'm playing.
and it's kind of unfortunate because it feels like we end up defending the harmonica more than we really should have to. You know what I mean? We shouldn't have to defend a new
Yeah,
harmonica.
kind of, because the reputation has been built off of some pretty gnarly stuff. Sometimes, we look at a lot of, harp out there and we say, well, it's misrepresented or I don't even know how to describe it, but like, yeah, I think that there's room to focus on what we do as individuals. And so again, like this little instrument, I'm not afraid to say all the naysayers are cool because they reinforce what I'm saying. People that are like, that thing's garbage, or that's fine. Like I think there needs to be some of that in the mix of people giving pushback. But when you guys start to hear, and my prediction, I could be wrong, is that there are going to be a handful of harmonica players, like guys. There's some dudes in Russia, especially. I don't know what it is. Poland, Russia. There's some Czech players. There are guys that are monster musicians first and foremost, and I have a feeling we're going to see one or two of these guys fully exploit the harmonica, the PentaHarp, the way that Howard Levy exploited the Richter tune diatonic, and do it in a way that is hyper musical and relevant. And I'm excited to hear it. But what I care about most is just my own, at the moment, sort of continued exploration is how I might bring it in. Like, I'll be honest with you, it's going to be sparse as a harp player. I'll bring it in, for select things to feature it. Like, but that's enough. That's all I plan on doing, man.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. It's same reason I want to get a bass harp for like 2 songs. you
Right.
know?
You just carry that thing in on the shoulder like a boom box.
Yeah. Like Radio
Uh,
Raheem. I'm just gonna be like, "What's up?"
Radio Raheem. So, should we end on one more final tune? Is there anything you feel like demoing that's different from what we've done?
Hmm. Well, I'm not sure because again, I've only used this as a specific tool. Um.
What about something where you're forced to play all octaves?
Oh, like Jim Liben. He'll do things like that where he just plays all octaves. Okay, let me see.
You do whatever you want, Nick.
Try to think of a nice rhythm for that then. Um,
Ba-ba-ba-da-bum-bum. I like that. Yeah, it worked quite well, actually. And you guys, if you don't know, on this A harp, if you can get the two whole cover octave stuff, um, you're just thinking major scale. You're just
yeah.
and you could really take that, move it all up to the next range, on the high end of the harp, but like four blow, four draw, five blow, five draw, six blow, just thinking those notes and playing like Nick said earlier, rhythmically.
Yeah, I was impressed with myself. So I did some stuff like that I never done before.
Nick, you always impress me. Well, this has been fun, dude. Thanks for jumping on and sharing some music with everybody here. And
Yeah,
I sure appreciate you, man. You look good. I like the hat. It looks especially good with the band and the black shirt tied in together, man.
yeah, I know. I've been listening to all Texas stuff. So like Sam Myers.
Oh, I love
Texas and
Sam.
Louisiana. So like Sam Myers, Lazy Lester, Lee McBee, Daryl Newlish, like all the guys outside of the Thunderbirds, because I love the Thunderbirds, but there's so much stuff in
Ooh,
that.
you even threw in Lee McBee. That's cool, man. So like,
He's the man, dude. And like seriously, Sam Myers, yo, we all for the blues lovers, because I
he's
know,
my favorite.
man, that singing, that harp playing, his phrasing is mind blowing, man. Like he's pocket all day. He sounds like he's just playing straightforward, but if you actually listen, he's doing some really off the wall
Oh yeah.
stuff in that world. He was amazing, man. He was so
I
good.
think I think I think his tone and I think his phrasing are up there with the greatest players that have ever lived. I feel like
Yeah,
Sam Myers
you
is
should do a seminar on Sam Myers, and I'll pay for that one. I'll go and watch that, man, because he is mind blowing. He is so
yeah.
killer, and his
No one's talking about Sam. And guess who called me yesterday on the phone?
little Sonny.
He called me up again. He called,
Oh,
"Hey, Lil Sonny, if you're watching this video, man, we love you." And Lil Sonny just turned 90.
woo! Congratulations, man.
Dude, I said to him, "Congrats, first of all, on your birthday, because that's a big accomplishment right there, just to be going this long." But he called because he's just trying to like, he wanted to say thanks for having his picture, all those videos with his picture on the wall and the Black and Blue album, and
And oh, man, what a just underappreciated. He's wild because he's like a Papa Lightfoot in that,
yeah,
the real. Once you get past like the real known people, he's like one of those guys that you should really get into because like his work with blues harp put in so many different grooves.
I love him.
I
He's
mean,
just
John Nemeth, the last couple of records owes a lot to him, and he would admit that. John moved to Memphis. That's how much he loved. That Stax recording era that little Sonny had.
yeah.
Um,
He and his family's his sons are all musical. They his tell me about his bass playing son, and how his son was
nice.
like, "You should call Ronnie if you're thinking about him. Just call him up." And I'm thinking, man, Sonny, you can call me anytime.
Yeah.
It's just fun to be able to connect with these guys who are my heroes. And the fact that Sonny's still alive, try to think of another harp player that's alive that is his age or older that
And
is
able
in.
to do stuff like that because I think Arthur Williams might be still alive, but I think he's like just not communicating with the outside
Little
world.
Sonny sounds like he's like 50 or 60 on the
Yeah,
phone.
yeah,
He sounds young. His voice sounds strong.
yeah,
So, at any rate, we're a little off topic.
yeah. Harp nerd
Appreciate,
stuff.
yeah. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. And Nick, thanks for being here, man.
Anytime, man. Anytime to show off this new hat. I'm gonna go to bed like this from now on.
Yeah, right. With a beer on your chest. Or something.
Yeah. Just like, all right.
Oh boy, Nick. I'll check on you later. Make sure you're still okay with your new hat. Could lead you into a lifestyle of trouble. I
Oh
don't know
man,
what
this
will
is
happen.
changing me hard. I'm never the same now.
I can't wait to see the new year, buddy. Well, y'all have a great New Year's. I don't know if I'll be back for a posting or a live thing or what I'll be doing, but great to see you guys if not. Nick, I'll talk to you soon, sir.